Good morning, everybody. So here's a tutorial video of making a hexagon using two methods. We're going to start with using a compass. So hopefully you guys have a compass like this one. And this is what it will look like when we're done. And the second one we're going to do is one using a protractor. I'm doing both methods so that everyone will get a chance to do it, and hopefully you guys have some of these tools at home. So we will start with this one. This is the one we use a compass to create a hexagon, and we're going to have a 4-inch side, and that also makes it 4 inches in radius. Okay, so I will start with a new piece of paper and do it. You guys can follow along and do it with me if you'd like. So you'll need a mechanical pencil is really great, but any pencil is fine. You want to try and do it right down the center of the paper. And you can use any paper that you have. I'm just going to do a couple of marks here just to make sure I'm in the center. So I have plenty of room. Most of our sketchbooks, if you're doing it in the sketchbook, are 9 by 12. And that's a great size. This is just a sheet of 8.5 by 11 copy paper for a sample, but it's fine. I'd prefer you guys use something a little heavier like your sketchbook paper if you have it. Okay, so then we're going to use our ruler again here. And we're going to take our compass. Make sure you're set up with a pencil. And we're going to do 4 inches. We're going to do a 4-inch circle. So you measure it out to 4 inches. I have to tighten this one down. Ruler out of the way. And then I want to give myself a center point so I know, where I'm starting in case I lose it as I go along, because sometimes that happens. I like to just spin my paper. That's easier. And I don't have to manipulate it too much. So that gives us our circle. All right. It also gives us 2 starting points on this side and this side, because we have a center line going through, so we can just start with this. Now we don't have to change anything on the compass at all. We keep it at 4 inches. You do have to be as precise as you can, so you want to put your point right here on the side, and then you make a little mark right here at 4 inches. And then you can take this side and do the same. And then from here, all we need is a ruler. We have our center point, and we have our marks here, which put us at 60 and 120. So I'm going to just make sure I have a nice clear mark where I had my compass. And then I'm going to line it up with my center point and that mark right there. Make sure I'm in my little window here. And then I'm just going to give myself a mark right here. I don't have to draw a line all the way across, because eventually you really want this clear so you can add things to it for the hexagon project. But you just want a little mark. So I'm going to do the same thing, line it up with my center point, line it up with that mark that I first made. Like that. And then just give myself a little mark here. And we are making a hexagon, so we have 6 sides. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all we need to do to get those straight points is really well try to line it up with our intersecting points here. One method I also use is I sometimes will put my pencil right on the point and then bring my ruler up to it. That's really helpful. And then you make a line. Bottom one. And we do this one. All the way around. Now the important part of this project is I would like to have us all bring them together and key them together and a display. So making them all the same size is pretty important. Okay, so that's our first hexagon. Okay, and each side, if you notice, using my ruler, each side is 4 inches. And that's what we want. We want to make sure each side is 4 inches, which would also mean that the radius from the center point out to here is 4 inches as well. So that's our first one. Done. Okay, now we're going to do one, if you don't happen to have a compass at home, I think that's easy as nothing. That we're going to do one using a protractor, and that's still pretty easy. So again, we're going to give ourselves a center line. Pretty simple, just to make sure that we kind of center it somewhat on the page. And we need a center line anyway, so that's going to be important. 2 marks, dividing the page in half. All right, so we have our center. Now, one of the things that we're going to do is first we need to figure out our 4-inch mark. So if we give ourselves, remember we have a 4-inch radius, if we give ourselves a center point, okay, we can come out 4 inches on this side, and then 4 inches on this side. So that gives us our center, and then 4 inches out, and 4 inches out. The next thing we're going to do is use our protractor. Remember, you start with the center point right here, not the bottom edge. And that line is where we want to line up right on this line, okay? So if you look at it, I have that center point right there. I have my line on my line. And then I want to go 60 degrees up in either direction, or 120. If you counted from one side, this is 180. So you can go 60, 120, or if you're counting from this side, you go 60, 120. You guys get what I mean. So 120 is right here, and 60 is right here. So I'm just giving myself 2 marks. That's all I need. Okay, and again, I'm going to take that mark and line it up with my center point. And I'm just going to give myself some marks out here. Okay, trying to keep them light again because we are going to be drawing inside this hexagon. So if you put too much pencil mark in there, it makes it difficult to get rid of later. So you want to just give ourselves a slightly wider mark so we know where we're coming out from. Okay, and now we have 4 inches out from either side. All we need to do is measure out 4 inches all the way around. So you go from your center point and you line it up to your line. Make sure it's as precise as you can make it. Okay. Go like that. That's one of our points. Again, it's easier for me to turn the paper, so I'm just going to turn the paper. Line it up right on that center. And I do that. I'm going to do the same thing out here. Each one is 4 inches. And then I'll do one more here. Okay, so now we have all of our points. Now we just have to connect them with a line. Pretty simple. Try to really line up your ruler right on those points. And you can certainly make your hexagon shape in darker pencil. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's the trash truck coming by. If you're wondering what the odd noise is. Go. And that is our second hexagon. All right, then you can erase this line, erase these little bits of line, and then you have a clear surface on either one of these to create your image. And from here, our theme is going to end up being time. That was what was voted on. I put that in Canvas for everybody. So what I'd like you to do is, like we did with the first sketchbook, is to use that as a theme. And your drawing space will be in here. If you go over, it doesn't matter because we're just going to cut these. And you don't have to cut them right now if you don't want to. You can leave it over if you want. And then we'll cut them maybe when we get back to school. But if you feel like cutting, you certainly can. And then we're going to fill the image like you fill your sketchbook, using the theme of time. You can use any materials. You can use anything that you have at home. And the only last suggestion that I would have, especially if you cut it out, is to back it up with a thicker cardboard board so that they become a little stiffer. And you glue it down using, like an Elmer's glue or a white glue if you have it. And put it down to that board. The best thing, and the thing that I think most people have, is a cereal box. So on the insides of the cereal boxes, it's just plain cardboard. So what would be great is if you end up cutting out this, you can use it to trace onto the inside of a cereal box and then cut that out. And that's what you can put behind this to stiffen it up. It'll just make it a little bit easier for us to hang and I think work really well. So if you can get that much done within this cycle, that'd be great. If not, we can work on that also when we get back. But I do feel like the cardboard would be really nice underneath these. So I hope everyone's doing well. Miss you all terribly. And I will hopefully be seeing all of these really soon. I'll also try to create my own to add to the mix. So anything that I do, I will post on Canvas. Take care.